Right now, while you're watching this, your thumb is resting near the bottom of the screen, ready to slide up at any second. You won't even think about it when you do, because scrolling feels like the most normal thing in the world. But that tiny little movement is switching on something inside you that is almost 200,000 years old. This is why your ancient brain thinks scrolling is hunting. And to understand it, we have to go back to a quiet lab in Switzerland, back in the early 1990s. A brain scientist named Wolfram Schultz was watching what happened inside the brain of a monkey. He wasn't even studying phones or happiness. He was trying to understand a brain chemical called dopamine and a disease that slowly destroys it. The setup was simple. The monkey got a little drop of sweet juice, and Schultz watched a part of its brain light up the moment the juice arrived. At first, everything happened exactly the way scientists expected. People believed dopamine was the feel-good chemical, and sure enough, it fired the second the juice touched the monkey's tongue. Then Schultz changed one tiny thing, and by accident, he discovered something that would change how we understand our own minds. He started flashing a small light a couple of seconds before the juice came out, every single time. And once the monkey figured out that the light meant juice was on its way, the dopamine did something nobody saw coming. It stopped firing when the juice arrived. Instead, it fired the moment the light came on. Stop and think about how strange that is. The chemical we thought was all about pleasure wasn't reacting to the reward at all anymore. It was reacting to the promise of a reward, to that little hit of excitement when you know something good is about to happen. The simplest way to say it is this: dopamine doesn't fire when you get something good. It fires when you think something good is coming. It was never really about getting, it was about wanting. It's the engine inside you that pushes you to go look and look and look again. And once you understand that, you have to ask why we'd be built with an engine like that in the first place. The answer is that for almost all of human history, staying alive came down to one tiring job: finding things. Food that was hidden, water that was far away, a safe place to sleep, a person you could trust. The world never just handed you these things. You had to go search for them. And searching cost energy, and put you in danger from everything that wanted to eat you. So the people whose brains gave them a little spark just for looking kept going a bit longer than everyone else. They found more. They survived. And you come from those people. You've still got the same engine running behind your eyes. But there was always a second rule built into that ancient search, and this is the rule that explains your phone completely. Not every search resulted in food. Some days you walked for hours and came back with nothing, and other days you turned a corner and found a whole tree full of ripe fruit. Your brain slowly fell in love with that not knowing, because not knowing is exactly what keeps you searching. If you can guess the reward perfectly, it gets boring fast. But a reward that might be around the next corner, your brain will chase that one almost forever. Now think about what your thumb is really doing when you scroll. Every swipe is another corner you're turning, and you honestly don't know what's on the other side. The next thing might be boring and easy to forget, or it might be the funniest, craziest, most beautiful thing you've seen all week. That one little word, might, is the whole trap. Your ancient brain treats every swipe like another patch of forest that could be hiding food, so it gives you that buzz not when you finally find something good, but every single time you reach for the next unknown thing. That's why scrolling never feels finished. You're not relaxing when you scroll. You're hunting, and the hunt can't end because the next corner is always just one more swipe away. There's a famous study that shows just how badly your brain hates having nothing to chase. In 2014, a psychologist named Timothy Wilson sat ordinary people alone in an empty room for 15 minutes with nothing to do but think. The only thing they could reach was a button that gave them a small electric shock. Before it started, every single person had said they'd happily pay money to never feel that shock again. And yet, once they were left alone with nothing to chase, a lot of them pressed the button and shocked themselves on purpose. One man did it 190 times even. They didn't want the pain. They wanted something, anything. Because a brain built to hunt all day just can't sit still with nothing to look for. Your phone fixes that uncomfortable feeling instantly by handing your brain something new to chase every single hour you're awake. This is why when you turn off your screen, you already want to grab it again. It's the same rush of dopamine your ancestors felt long ago, standing at the edge of camp in the early morning. That quiet little spark telling them there might be something good out there, if they just went to look. For them, chasing that spark meant a full belly and one more day alive. For you, that same spark means picking up your phone for the 40th time today. The feeling hasn't changed in all those thousands of years. Only the thing you're chasing has. And the people who design these apps understand this better than you'd probably like. They didn't create your craving, because your craving is already 200,000 years old. They just found it, studied it really carefully, and built something perfectly shaped to feed it. The feed that scrolls on forever and never hits the bottom. The tiny pause before a page loads that stretches out that little moment of maybe. The pull down to refresh that works on your hand exactly like a slot machine. None of it is an accident. And none of it means you're weak. It means you're running ancient software in a world that was built to take advantage of it. Which brings us to the question that changes everything. What happens to a hunter who's never once allowed to stop finding things? In the wild, hunting always had an end. You found food, you ate, you rested, and the search was over. But scrolling has no end. The feed keeps giving your ancient brain something new to look for, even when there is nothing real to find. So, restless feeling of looking for something you can never quite reach has another name we all know. We call it anxiety. We call it that restless feeling. We treat it like proof that something's wrong with us. But what if nothing's wrong with you at all? In 2021, researchers David Amodio, William Brady, and their colleagues analyzed more than 1 million social media posts from over 4,000 users and found that posting behavior followed patterns that looked like reward learning. People were not only sharing into empty space, they were learning from likes, reactions, and social feedback, and that feedback helped shape what they did next. The feed is not just something you watch, it is something that trains you while you use it. So, what changed? Humans did not become weak. The hunt moved into the phone, the forest became a feed, the tracks became thumbnails, the sounds became notifications, and your ancient brain kept searching, hoping the next swipe would finally give it something real. Your body is safe under a blanket, but your brain is still out there, looking for a reason to stop. And here's the part nobody talks about. When you scroll for an hour and feel empty afterward, it may not be because your brain did nothing. It may be because your brain was working the entire time, scanning faces, judging signals, opening gaps, predicting rewards, comparing lives, and preparing for something that never really arrives. It is ancient effort without ancient payoff. For 300,000 years, your ancestors searched because searching ended in something real. Food, water, safety, shelter, a warning. A person who mattered. Now the same ancient system can spend the night chasing images that vanish the moment they appear. Your brain does not know it is lying in a bedroom. It thinks the trail is still warm. It thinks the next swipe might be the one. We traded the forest for the feed. And most of us never even knew we were still hunting. So tonight, when your thumb starts drifting up the screen out of habit, you'll know exactly what it thinks it's doing, and whether this hunt is really the one worth following.